a positive and constructive way. We want to know what the issues are out there that are facing people, because it is our goal to both work with employers and employees to bring humanity back into the workforce. And always we'll be going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, except for Conversations for Humanity when we have a meet and greet at 2:45, and the call starts off at 3 o'clock. Remember, every Tuesday it's going to be Sharing Care with Sandy. Tomorrow's it's always on Wednesday, Conversation for Humanity. And my great friend and partner, Carla Fedigan, will be hosting Humanity Happy Hour here, a.k.a. the 19th hole. So she will be doing that every Thursday. And as you jump on, feel free to comment in the chat, whether it be on LinkedIn Live, Twitter, YouTube. We would like to know where you're watching from right now currently. And also, if you watch this on the replay, please use the hashtag replay and submit your questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, and we would love to hear from you on that. And just to let everybody know, we can have up to 10 people on the call at a time. So if you want to join the live, I will put the live link here shortly into the live stream. So you guys, if you guys want to chime in, we would love to hear from you. So good afternoon, Michael and Carla. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. So this week's topic is going to be about human development, and that component thereof, which is, I truly believe, the best investment is the human investment. And I want to get you guys a thought to kick off the conversation. Is human development the next phase of, maybe if you want to call it a replacement of, maybe, of human resources? What's your thoughts on that, Carla?
Well, to me, if you think of human resources, that's a way to get people to work better for the betterment of the company, like getting all the ducks in a row and getting things done and being productive without working on the people. And I look at human development as looking on the people first, empowering the people and developing your people, and in turn, you're going to get the same, if not a better effect.
Right. I totally get with that. Hello, Lisa. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic on this marvelous and great, terrific Tuesday. The question I was just asking Carla and Michael, is human development possibly the next path forward in maybe replacing human resources? What's your thoughts on that, Lisa?
Yes, I think so. I think it's already in process. I think some companies now are starting to look at that. You can see with some examples of big companies like JetBlue and Lyft, how they're integrating the focus on people.
Nice. Your thoughts, Michael?
I think that it's not going to replace human resources, but it's got to become a part of it. You got to know, you got to really get to know your people that you're working with, to know who's going to fit in what positions and what their passions and their pursuits are. And we get a lot of people that get stuck in certain jobs that they feel stuck at because it's not what they really want to do in life. You know, you got to find out what it is that your people that are working with you, what they want, you know, so that they don't feel stuck, and empower them to make the decisions for themselves to move up in the company if they want to move up, or what position they want to hold, you know, and help them acquire whatever skills and stuff that are necessary to fulfill the position that they want. I mean, you get a lot of people that feel stuck in the positions they're left in, and it's not where they're best suited for. They're not in the position that the jobs that they're suited for. And so they feel stuck in the positions.
Or they don't feel like there's got any chance for advancement in the company, so they go and look elsewhere.
Yep.
I agree with that. Because, see, for me, in the 35 years I've been working for others, there's been that big disconnect that we equate leadership and management to be one and the same when they're actual two polar opposites of the spectrum. And what what happens is, more often than not, if you really want to develop somebody from the genuine human level, and you invest in them to such an extent that they feel it in their bones, they know it, they feel it's tangible to them, it creates that dynamic that they will literally follow you to the ends of the earth because you are really invested in them. You're giving them your time, you're giving them your mindset, your knowledge, all that kind of stuff. You basically are, in essence, just giving a piece of you to them, and then maybe in turn, they also are giving a piece of themselves into you. It's what John C. Maxwell says in 21 Different Laws of Leadership. If you help others get to where they need to go in an organization, by default, it will help you get to where you need to go in the organization, in which by default, yet again, it will get to every other person at every level at any organization on this planet. And he took that from, and I truly believe in this as well, from Zig Ziglar when he said it so many years ago as well, is if you help others get what they want, you get what you want. Do you agree with that, Carla?
Yeah, it goes back to the I help you, you help we help we.
That mission statement.
Yeah.
I got that from John C. Maxwell.
Yeah. It's so simple. It's so simple. You just want to go, why didn't I think of that before? You know,
Right.
It doesn't, as Sandy says, it doesn't have to be rocket science. It is so simple. Mm-hmm.
It is. Lisa, your thoughts?
I would have to agree with Carla. It's very simple, and it really goes back to, I think, Chris, you said it earlier, that golden rule, really, of treating others the way that you want to be treated, right? And if we do that in everything that we do, I think it makes everything better.
Right. Michael, your thoughts?
I was thinking about Charles Branson from Virgin Airways. His thing is, you find out what it is the people want to do, and you train them well enough to do it. Then you train them well enough so that they can leave if they want to, but you treat them well enough so that they won't want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You got to empower them and develop their skills and everything, and then treat them well enough that they're going to be happy where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and I think the more that we invest in people, the more they, inherently will want to stay and be loyal to that company, because they feel that sense of loyalty when they can see, that they've invested in you, not just in developing, but in caring for one another, big life moments that happen if the company that you work with is behind you and there for you, it says a lot. So it's not just the training and development piece, it's the being there and caring for you and your big life moments, whether they're good life moments or bad life moments.
So true.
These things happen, life happens.
Now, Lisa, since you've been in the realm of HR for over 20 plus years, and you've seen that kind of side of an organization, what have you seen? Let's put it in the context of this: the best of and the worst of when it comes to HR. What have you seen? I would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Do we have enough time?
I can say it this way without taking up too much. I think
all the time. You mean no? That was a joke. That was a joke.
I know. I think it's in the people that you work with more than anything, and I have seen some of the best. I just still don't think I've hit the nail on the head yet as far as being with the best or one of these companies that you read about, as far as some of the big things that they're doing and caring and being there for their people. But I've worked for some good companies, don't get me wrong. But I have seen, managers that that don't really care. You know, they're there to get a job done, and that's it. Boom, done. But I have seen other people within organizations that, you know, they're there with you through everything. And I've had one of the best managers, leaders, I think that I have in my career, fairly recently, not real recent, but fairly recently. And she was a true leader. She cared about you. She, you know, would call if something, you know, was happening in your life, and, you know, was there to support, cared about developing, cared about mentoring, all of those things that we're talking about here. And like I said, I've seen others where they're there to do a job, and that's it. And you know those companies because people don't collaborate as much. They don't talk, you know, they don't mentor one another. They're just there. They come in, do their job, and leave. You know, it definitely changes the tune of the organization.
I agree. What do you think about that, Carla?
Well, I think about some of the organizations that I've worked for, and when you were talking about life events, I remember when my mom died in 2008. I almost quit my job the day before she died, and then she died the next day. And I was supposed to. That was on a Thursday, and I was supposed to work. It was Labor Day weekend, and I was supposed to work that weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And they actually got somebody to cover my shift for me for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then I had the whole next week off. And I got paid for it.
Nice.
Which they didn't really have to do. They could have said, hey, you know, we give you 5 days and today was your day one, yada, yada, yada. And we'll see you next Wednesday, you know?
Right.
But, or hey, we'll do you 5 days, but can you still cover the weekend? You know, they could have done that, you know, but they said, no, we don't want to see you at all next week.
Right.
So
they wanted to give you the time you needed.
I had like 10 days off, you know, which was great because I could help my dad and deal with family and all that kind of stuff. But there aren't organizations that would do that.
Right.
Exactly. And the biggest thing is you didn't have to worry. You didn't even have to think about it. It was done for you, and you could focus on what you really needed to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And sadly, I ended up having to leave that company because there was no room for advancement for me. And, you know, if there were an opening for them, I'd probably go back to work for them today because they were just a great family, you know, oriented business.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And then recently a friend of mine was on vacation and they were paid hourly, and they get along really good with the owners of the company and things like that, and came back and said, oh, there's money that got deposited in my account last week, but I didn't work. So my friend went to their boss and said, hey, I think there's an accounting error because I got paid last week and I didn't work at all. And the owner said, don't worry about it. So the normal hours that they would have worked because they were on took time off to go on vacation, and they didn't get, you know, they didn't have paid vacation. They got paid for it.
Oh, wow.
So it's very rare that you run into a company like that truly cares about their employees.
Right.
It's rare.
Michael, your thoughts?
I was thinking that the human resources, like she was saying, usually they don't get involved with the employees or anything else like that until there's a problem. You know, most of the time when somebody starts missing work or anything else like that, then the human resources department will step in and try and figure out why, you know, whether they're got problems with relationship issues or what their issues are or anything. But that's after the fact. I think human resources got to get involved in it right from the beginning to get to know the people, who they are and what they aspire to be, you know, where they're going to fit in. so that they know, where they're going to go and what their issues are before they take the position in the job, so that they know what's to expect of it. A lot of people they're not familiar with the culture or the environment that they're working in until they're in that situation. So you got to really have human resources there right from the beginning to take a proactive role in the company, in the organization, and the placement of the people within the organization. I mean, it's got to start right at the beginning, the human resources and personal development. For everything to work out together, there's got to be that cooperation and collaboration with everything, and you get things moving forward and working properly. You got to put people in the most efficient places, to be effective.
Right, Michael, and I think that it's really important that starts on day one.
Yep.
If you're going to invest in people, you hire them, you will onboard them, orientate them, that kind of thing, and then you start working with them right from day one. What do you aspire to be here? Where do you want to go within the organization?
Mm-hmm.
In your life, what do you want to do, and then work through that with the team member or employee and say, these are the things that I'd like to help you with and again, I think that's just the investment in people. Starts then, and then you work from there.
Yeah, I think the human resources got to come right in with the beginning, right? They want training and everything.
Exactly.
Well, our great friend Brian Sumner has to chime in, and this is what he says. Employees at all levels get paid to get a job done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brian, you need to jump on the call, sir. I know you got to expand on that. Absolutely. Austin and Tay, please join us. We would love to get your thoughts on human development, human investment, and that's what we're talking about. All right, and I believe, let's see who says this. We just got it in the chat. Another comment, and of course, Brian Sumner again. He does it again. He says this. Most people have no clue. They just want a job. They fail to adequately plan. Well, it's like what my father taught me at a young age. If you fail to plan, you're playing to fail, and that goes with anything that we do in business or otherwise, and everything like that. So did you hear that, Andy? I mean, Carla?
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I had to step away to get my jacket.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ryan says most people have no clue. They just want to have a job. They fail to adequately plan. That's what he just said. So,
sadly, I think that in the workplace, there are people that are like that. But there are some people that if they were truly given the opportunity and they had the right guidance, they could really come through and shine for a company.
Right. So
I mean, you can't necessarily change that. You
Yeah.
can't, but hopefully you would see that in the hiring process and do what you could do to avoid that. If companies are looking for someone to come in and just do a job, that's what you're going to get. But if you want to have somebody come in that you can actually nurture and help them with personal development and help them develop in the organization, they're going to actually end up costing you less because you're not going to have the turnover because people are not committed to a job. Where they just come in and do a job and then they don't want to do it and then they just up and leave and you end up hiring somebody else.
So, Tay, thank you for clapping your hands for looking on the call. But join on the live stream. We would love to hear your thoughts and everything, Tay, Austin, because I'm a Gator fan. So come on, Austin, you got to join in and everything. So, Lisa, when it comes to traditional human resources, do you think it in this way that a resource can be tapped out if you don't cultivate it and nurture it and everything like that, and it can be probably gone by the wayside, so to speak, and you don't have nothing else there because you used all the resources up. Is that the way you kind of think human resources is to a certain degree?
I think that in general, I think human resources can get caught up in some of the compliance issues. And if one of their goals isn't to focus on things like development, it should be integral in an HR role, but it's not always. It all depends too on where you're at within the organization, the size of your company, your growth, your amount of growth at your facility. There's a lot of different factors, but I think that sometimes human resources, there aren't always enough human resource people to handle all of the things that they're responsible for. So I think they can get caught up sometimes in the day-to-day things that have to happen, and not have the ability to focus on strategic parts of a business in HR, such as development, such as what I'm talking about of, working with the individual from day one and trying to find out what it is they like to do, because I think it was Ryan that commented that most people have no clue. I would agree with that to some degree. There are some, like Carla was saying, there are some people that don't really know. They just want to come in and do the job they were hired to do. That's where I think it's up to human investment or HR to come in and say, okay, you're here to do a job, but we want to invest in you, and we want to know what you like to do, what are, really get to know, build a relationship, get to know what that person likes to do, and help them through their career and help them build upon that by investing in them.
Right. Hello, Cindy. How are you doing today?
Hi, Chris. I'm struggling.
Well, at least you're here. That's a good thing.
I didn't sleep very well last night.
Now you can go have a nap later.
This heat is really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
How hot is it today?
It's
What,
only
44? Something like that?
It's only 30 so far today. But
Only 30.
the heat is starting to get to me. I was very dizzy this morning, and I actually threw up, but all I had to throw up was water. So it was just water that came out. It was just, I haven't been feeling good. Anyway, I got my two Band-Aids here, my two little biopsies, and they told me, interesting, that it's going to take 2 weeks to get the result. I think I told you, Lisa, I generally deal a lot with HR, and I call them firefighters, because I think they have so many things on their plates. They really have to figure out and prioritize what they have to do when. And, I know they know how to do training and all those kinds of things, but they just usually don't have time. And that's the reason why they bring outsiders to take care of any training that they decide that needs to be done, whether it's individual coaching or whether it's lunch and learns or whether it's half days or full days, in terms of what their people need.
Yes.
I mean, I think they're amazing. I really do, but I think it's a really difficult job.
Yeah, it definitely can. You can be bogged down with the day-to-day stuff you have to get done. And not only that, there's, like you said, the firefighting that goes on continually. You're in the middle of doing, say you're developing a training, and you get bogged down with people coming in and, hey, I need this, I got this going on, or there's now all of a sudden there's an investigation or something that you have to stop everything and handle. So it definitely is one of those things where you get bogged down sometimes, and you're not focused on the other things that you could be focused on.
Exactly. I really think it's a hard job. really do. Well,
It is.
one of the things I noticed when I was working with the big law firms downtown is that the HR managers didn't last very long because I think they had so much to do. And law firms are difficult places to work because, by and large, especially if there's a lot of male lawyers, don't take this wrong, guys. There's a lot of people, and it can get to be quite difficult to staff. And sometimes, I guess, even for each other, depending on what's going on. And they need to sometimes take a step back and realize what's happening. Because when I would start doing training with the staff, I mainly trained staff in the law firms. So the first thing the staff would say to me when I started the program was, "Are the lawyers going to get this?" I would laugh and say, "No." What's the point? I said, well, the point is that if you change your behavior, they're going to look at you in a different way. Chances are you're going to be able to deal with them more successfully. It's just a matter of understanding how all of this works. It's in a couple of the law firms I did deal as well with lawyers, but mostly it was just staff. And they were concerned that the lawyers didn't learn these things and how would it help them. But in the end, it did help them because, again, the lawyers would look at them differently. Particularly, they stood up for themselves and were assertive in a nice way. And because a lot of times you have difficult clients, and sometimes the lawyer will blame the staff. Well, you should have handled that better, or whatever. Well, I'm sorry. The secretary or whoever it is, and the lawyer, you're a team. I'm sorry, you have to deal with this together. And it's a matter of understanding what has to be done. And sometimes it's better if the lawyer talks to the client about it.
Right.
It's just a matter of understanding how some of these things work. And it's kind of interesting. Of course, again, my sister's a lawyer. It's different now because there are lots of lawyers. But when my sister started out, there weren't. And so a lot of times women got passed over for promotions and partnerships and all those kinds of things. Because again, male lawyers and they're more important and better and so on and so forth. And so the women really had to stand up for themselves and whatever. My sister's no shrinking violet, so she never had a problem. But it's kind of interesting that a lot of these people, even though they have exactly the same education and in some cases the same experience and even the same number of years of experience, they don't get to move up. They don't get to become a partner and things like this. And they were afraid that if they stood up and said something, they would lose their job. So it's a matter of, it's just a matter of understanding how to do it. And being assertive doesn't mean being nasty. It means knowing what you want and asking for it in an honest and respectful manner. If you can do that, then you should get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, this is what Brian just chimed in again on. And Brian, you got to join on the call. I know you got things you're doing and everything, but this is what he says. To deliver superior quality products and services for our customers and communities through leadership, innovation, and partnerships. Wendy's mission statement. That's their mission statement. How many people actually for their mission statement, or do their customers simply want? And he says at the end of it, want a burger and fries. And that's what some people want. They just simply want to get a product or service and get done and get out of there. And I get that. But
some people don't even know the mission statement of the company they're working with.
That's true, Carla.
Yeah.
That's very true.
They're there to do their shift. They're there to make fries, flip burgers. Hey, how are you? Would you like fries with that? What kind of drink do you want? Upsell them a dessert and get their paycheck and go.
Yep.
There are other people in the organization that say, hey, teach me how to do the fry station. Teach me how to monitor the burgers. Teach me how to do breakfast. Teach me how to do this. Teach me how to do that. If you need help with this or that, here I am. I'll help you out. There are not people, not everybody's like that.
No, and we've talked about this before, how cross-training is really helpful in an organization. So if somebody isn't there or somebody needs a hand, then another person, because they've been taught to do some of the things that they maybe don't do regularly, know how to do it. So then they can pitch in and be helpful. And cross-training is very important in an organization. I think that, most people should know how to do pretty much everything, just in case they need to.
Right.
One of the worst things I hate to hear is that's not my job.
Oh, I heard that.
There, stand up on the back of my neck.
That's the worst thing to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I'm not in management.
That is used far too much in business today. It says, "Oh, it's not my job." Well, it may not be your direct job. Understand it, get it, but we all share in a common vision, common goal, common purpose at an organization or a business. Because if you're making that burger or making those fries or making that steak or whatever it is, you, in one way, shape, or form, have a hand in developing that product and service. To me, my name goes on every single thing that goes on in that restaurant because I believe it in this way, especially from the human development concept, that my name is on the door just as much as it's Carla's, Michael's, Sandy's, Lisa's. My name's there. I take ownership because of that. And once I not only take ownership, I can also start leading too as well, because it's like what me and Carla love so much about John C. Maxwell in his great book, The 360-Degree Leader. Everyone can be a leader.
Mm-hmm. We have that mindset, but not everybody, to Brian's point, not everybody has that mindset.
Right. But let me ask you this then, Carla. Can we at least create that environment that people can partake in, even though they may not want to be in that mindset, but they can still get things done within that environment, that the way that it would be not only good for, let's say, Lisa or Sandy or Michael or myself, but you can still offer that up to somebody else who is still only geared toward the 9 to 5.
Well, I think you have to lead by example, and then hopefully over time they will see the investment that they have in it and see how much better it is to work under those circumstances. But why not try it? Is because you're going to help the people that are in the same boat you are, and the people that believe in leadership, and everybody has the opportunity to be a leader. Let's say there's 6 people that you work with, and one of them is it's not my job, I'm just here to collect a paycheck kind of person. Well, you don't throw in the towel for the other 4 that are working with you, when you can set an example for them, and hopefully the one person that's kind of that outlier that's just there for the paycheck will start to realize, hey, they're a team. I want to be a part of this team, and I can help out. It doesn't hurt me to help out and do a little extra, and start to feel that sense of being part of a team.
And you take pride in that.
Yeah.
Good. And then things get done, and the bottom line is you make the customer happy, because that's really the bottom line. They get things in a timely fashion. They get good product, good service, whatever it is. And people should take pride in being part of the team and helping out when they can. I mean, again, one of the things I've mentioned before is how surprised some people are if the boss picks up a broom and sweeps the floor. Well, nobody else was doing it, and he had a moment, so he did it. Well, what's wrong with that? It's perfectly fine. And it just sets an example of how teams should work. And It doesn't matter that they're the boss. The floor needed to be swept. He had a moment. He picked up the broom and swept the floor because everybody else was busy doing other things.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of who is setting the tone and what examples are being set for the people on the team. And they need to understand that we're working together towards a common and whatever that may be. And a team is a team. We work collaboratively. Yes, maybe individuals have certain responsibilities, but in some cases, maybe we have to take on other responsibilities. And you know what? It can be fun. Nice to do something different from time to time.
Yeah. Well, maybe this one person has never been in a positive work environment where everybody always worked together. So they always had to kind of look out for themselves. So they don't know what it's like to work in a team atmosphere. And so why wouldn't you as a leader, compliment people on your team, even them? Hey, thanks for being so nice to the customers, or doing a little extra or whatever, or we're just saying, hey, it would really help us out if you could possibly do X, Y, and Z, or X. And then they do it and thank them for it. And then they really come into that mindset of, oh, it's not just about just earning that paycheck. They actually appreciate what I do because they're telling me that they appreciate what I do. I've never had that in a work situation before. I kind of like that. So, hey, would you give me, can I do something else to help out?
Right.
That's how you change their mindset.
Well, the acknowledgement shows that
People
you
feel
value.
appreciated. They do more than what they.
Exactly, Michael.
Well, this is what Brian just said. Yeah, this is what Brian just said. He said that he disagrees because not everyone has the same values within the company. I get that, Brian. We all have different values. So what's your thoughts on that, Lisa?
So of course, people are different. Each of us are unique, and we have different values. But I think when you're representing the company, it's important to understand company values. And I think what companies need to do if they want to bring human back to their companies, as the human element back to their companies, is one, we need to hire the right people, the people who share our values. And two, we need to lead by example and set the expectation of those values. And then we need to recognize people who live and breathe those values. So recognize someone who does something that falls within those values. That's something that recognizes or that shows what those values really mean. And I think it is really going to be a real culture change for a lot of companies, because it is something that we have to do. And again, I think it helps the bottom line in the long run. It will create happier customers, because now our customers are happier because our people are going to be happier, and they're going to work harder.
So let me ask you
Back to
this.
interviewing and hiring the right people to begin with.
Exactly. It starts there. I think, we got to hire people that share our values, and then, because you can teach anybody anything, really. Obviously, you're going to hire people that have the degrees or the skill set that you need as well, but you also really need to just start with the values. Do you share the same values, and is this someone that's going to be able to represent the company or the organization through showing those values and recognizing those values? So I think it starts there, and then it's up to HR and leaders and the entire organization really to take it from there, right? You've hired somebody that has the same values, and now we just need to make sure that they're being recognized and that these values are part of the culture, because we can say what our values are as a company, but if we don't live them in our culture, they're not going to matter.
That's right.
So
Model the way. They're not modeling the way. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Well,
You're just going to lose it, right? You can say whatever you want on paper, but the paper doesn't matter anymore until it's got to be shown in what we do and what we say and how we live.
That's right. You got to commit to it. You got to demonstrate it. And if you do, it'll have a huge effect on everybody else. It's just a matter of what are we trying to accomplish here?
Right.
We want our employees to be the best they can be, so we need to support them and acknowledge their contributions and provide them with everything if they need it. And in that way, they'll be proud of where they work and happy to be working with their colleagues. And if they feel that way, you won't need to worry about customer service because they'll want the customer to be happy too. So it's a win-win all the way around. And the opposite is true. If people are not happy, they're not enjoying their work, you're gonna have high turnover, and that's not good for your customers, and it's certainly not good for you. It's very expensive because when somebody leaves, everybody else has got to pick up the slack, and then when somebody comes in, they've got to be trained, and it's a mess.
So
It is a mess.
so,
Mhm.
so
It's so much better when a customer comes into a business and sees the same person all the time, and they see them and say, "Hi, Chris, so nice to see you. How are you doing?" There's nothing that's going to make a customer feel more welcomed and more cherished than you recognizing them and calling them by name. But
Yeah.
if you turn over every time, they won't know the names, they won't know the customers, and the customers are not going to feel very comfortable in this place. So we could lose business.
right.
Exactly.
So this is what Brian just said in the chat on LinkedIn Live. He said, "So we're doing our jobs for the recognition. Do we really need a thank you for all we are getting paid to do? What if our jobs wasn't about us?" What's your thoughts on that, Carla?
Well, I think you can get some overkill in there and be, just a running faucet of thank yous. After a while, if somebody's thanked 10 times a day for stuff that they do that they're supposed to do anyway, that kind of gets like muted, I guess. But yeah, I agree that somebody is supposed to be able to do their job. That's what they're hired for. But I think that recognition does go a long way. To some extent. I'm not saying it has to be every day, several times a day, but for a job well done, solving a particular situation or maybe a customer issue, or going a cut above and coming up with a solution for a problem or whatever, those things need to be kind of recognized.
Or if you do something that you don't normally do to help somebody out, like if you come in earlier or you stay later to help out with things, those are things that need to be recognized. No, not the regular stuff in your job. No. But when somebody goes the extra mile and does something that they don't normally do, or their job description, whatever, then that should be recognized. Because if it's not, they won't do it.
Yeah.
Well, nobody knows, nobody cares, so why would I bother?
Well, can you believe this? This is from Graham. Graham has actually chimed in on this.
Graham, you gotta get online. Prison's got a dinner sitting on this one.
He says, "I think it's possible to recruit people with similar values." Graham, I love that. I do. It's what Lisa said. Finding the right people and doing that. And I believe Brian just chimed in too as well. I believe he's even agreed with Graham. Let's see here. Did he actually agree with Graham? Yes, he did. Thank you, Brian. Oh, that's awesome. You two got to get on the call. Jump on the live stream, both of you. We would love to hear your
I can't
thoughts.
believe they're shy.
That's not a word I would use to describe either one of them, Carla.
Well, I know. That's why I don't understand why they're not on the call.
We miss them.
Yes, we do.
Especially Graham. Often I don't agree with him. I like to hear his perspective on things. So Graham also has often a different perspective. And I think it's important when we're having these conversations that people with different perspectives chime in so that we can step back for a minute and go, oh, well, I never thought of it that way.
Like live instead of in text.
Oh, here we go. We got another one. Let's see who says this one. I got another one just went up on the chat. This is from Brian. He says this.
Surprise.
He says this. Why do we have to acknowledge those supposedly going beyond what is expected is expected.
Why not?
Yeah.
If my husband makes the bed, like, okay, here's a good example. I get up out of the bed in the morning and the last thing I think about is making the bed. So I come downstairs, spend some time with my husband before he goes to work, and the dog and all that kind of stuff. He'll go upstairs to brush his teeth, and I'll go up later to shower, and he's made the bed. And I don't thank him every time that he makes the bed. He's certainly not expected to make the bed at all. But for me, it goes above and beyond. I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just left it. And it's those little things that I think that if you, just like in life, if you thank people for and you express gratitude, it's not a matter of how many times I've expressed gratitude to him in the past week or whatever. It's showing appreciation that he did it. And it's not necessarily done in the sense that, okay, he's going to do more of it. But I'm grateful that he did it, and he's feeling good because he gave.
Exactly.
Right. And I think too, it's, it's acknowledged, just an acknowledgement that you see what they've done and you appreciate it. That it can be as simple as that of, what, I see what you did and I appreciate it. It made my life better because now I didn't have to make the bed or whatever it is.
That's absolutely right.
So I think it's important that we do that, not just at work, right, but at home and in all of our relationships, because I think we all, just being people, we all have a need, whether we believe it or not or think it or not. I think we all have a need to be recognized for things we do, and I think it adds value to each and every one of us when somebody says thank you. Thank you for doing.
And I don't believe anybody that says, "Oh, I don't need to be recognized." You cannot tell me that you don't need to be recognized.
Exactly.
I just don't believe it.
Especially if you've done something that you don't normally do, or that, really something that you generally would do, whatever. I think it's just nice to thank them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it goes back to this great quote from John C. Maxwell, and I'll share it with you guys because I truly believe it's truly powerful. It's when he says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. It goes to the very essence of humanity and what it really truly stands for. Because if you don't even care about what you do and how you do it, and you're only in there for the 9 and 5, I get that and understand that. I do. I really do. But for me, I changed the corner many years ago to where I wasn't like that at all. I was always about myself. But I know if I put the effort and the time, the intentionality to say, I'm going to care about Sandy today. I'm going to care about Lisa today. I'm going to care about Carla today, and Brian and Graham and Michael. And really said, put others first than myself, even though to a certain extent we are always thinking about ourselves, because like what Brian says before, more often than not, our needs were literally at one point or another were supersede that's of the organization. And I get that to a certain degree. But when you're in the day-to-day and you're getting things done, I truly believe if you just show a little compassion, a little understanding, a little foresight and forethought, and saying, hey, I can see where Lisa is coming from today, or Sandy or Carla, I see what they're going through. Just put that hand out and say, hey, I'm here to help and serve you. Because truly, leadership is not about yourself, it's about serving others. And then it's really about really putting that intentionality forward to them and saying, hey, if we can do this together and take this journey together, we can have multiple paths to success, multiple paths to victory, multiple paths to achieving our goals. Because see, to me, it's more about the journey than the end result. Because if we learn upon the journey to get to that end result, we're going to go on to another journey thereafter.
Exactly. I mean, we're always on a journey of some sort.
Well, if we are a team, we should be on the same journey, trying to achieve whatever it is we're trying to achieve. And yes, everybody sort of has their part, whatever. But sometimes people get bogged down with their part. It turns out to be bigger than they thought. And then something else is getting neglected. So if somebody else can pitch in and pick up the slack, then everybody wins. We're happy. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I kind of got bogged down here. Whatever. I don't think it's such a bad thing. I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, that in the demo, we always help each other out. And we had all kinds of cross-training that went on so that could happen. I mean, sometimes patients cancel or patients don't come. And the receptionist doesn't always have time to fill the spot. So for hygiene, for example, most appointments were an hour. Well, then you've got a whole hour to twiddle your thumbs. Well, I'm sorry, I don't like twiddling my thumbs. It's boring. So I would find out if somebody needed some help. Like I'd go into the office, charts need to be pulled, do charts need to be filed, do phone calls need to be made, whatever. Or I'd go into the supply room and I always had a list on the wall of things that needed to be ordered. So I'd call and order the things that were up on the list. Okay, it's not my job, but it doesn't matter. It's something that needs to get done. And right now I've got some time, so why wouldn't I do it? And for me, sometimes I needed an extra hand if I was doing a perio charting. Somebody else could just write down the numbers for me. And some x-rays, and we were still using x-rays. And they have to go, first of all, into the developer, and then they got to be washed, and then they got to go in to be set. And so, sometimes when I was working on a patient, I just didn't have time to jump up and down and do that. So if somebody else could do it for me, I was very grateful and appreciative. So again, we were a team and we wanted to do the very best we could for our patients. So sometimes somebody else sometimes it was a dentist who did it. It wasn't always an assistant or the receptionist. Sometimes it was a dentist because maybe they had a cancellation or they finished what they were doing sooner than they expected. Whatever. It didn't matter. We were a team and we helped each other out wherever we could. And that was just how it worked.
Yeah.
So it just depends on again, who sets the tone. The leader sets the tone. And in a dental office, the leader's the dentist. But, in other places, it's whoever is on the leadership team. And they've got to be modeling the behaviors and setting the tone for the type of culture they want to establish and maintain. They've got to show that they're committed to it. And if they are, you've got a far better chance everybody else will jump on the bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. For
If
sure.
they're not, then why would anybody care? So it's
Well, we got to catch up with the chat here because Brian and Graham has chimed in, and I'll start with what Brian said, and this is what he said. He said he's confused that the conversation has been centered around doing our jobs and picking up the slack where needed, which sounds like if it's a requirement to be a good employee. Again, are we doing our job for the recognition? So who wants to take up that one?
I don't think so. I think that's the way Brian has interpreted what we're saying. I think when you're on a team and if you can help out, we're not looking for recognition. We're just looking to keep things running smoothly. And if somebody can help out to do that, then why wouldn't you? It's not a matter of, oh, I'm going to get recognized for this. No, I just want to keep things rolling along the way they should. So I'm going to help out because I've got an extra 5 minutes here, 10 minutes or whatever. So we're not necessarily looking for recognition. We're just looking to keep the team running properly. It's just a matter of where are you coming from? So, I don't think we're doing it for recognition. We're doing it to help the team.
Right. And this is what Graham just said. He's like, good point, Carla. I think in the workplace, managers can show appreciation, but employees should not expect it or be disappointed if they're not recognized.
I
That's
do
from Graham.
anything because I want recognition, so to speak. I do it because it's the right thing to do. I'm not looking for recognition. What is it? There's a Bible verse that says, do it as if nobody's watching and don't expect any recognition for it. Do it because it's the right thing to do.
And this
That's a paraphrase, okay?
yeah. And this is from Graham too, when he says, do you think recognition can improve performance from some people? And he was relating that over to Brian. What's your thoughts on that, Lisa?
I think recognition can help performance just because it makes the person, in most cases, it makes the person happier and feel more engaged because they see that other people are seeing what they're doing. And so I think that it can help. I think that going back to what Carla said is if you hire the right people, they're going to be doing the job because it's the right thing to do, or they're going to be following the values, right, because it's the right thing to do. And they don't necessarily need the recognition, but there's nothing wrong with recognition. And I think it only builds that relationship. And whether it's a coworker, a friend, whatever it is, it's building that onto that relationship you have with that person. And that only makes the other person want to do more, or they're going to be, like I said, more loyal, and they're going to be less apt to not do what they're supposed to do because that relationship is important to them.
Yeah. And this is what Brian says again. He said, it sounds like in order to get performance out of people, we must give them a hug before and after they do their job. There are some who must have that recognition. There are others do not. It depends on what motivates people.
Absolutely.
Well, there's some people that are motivated by recognition, and if you're going to end up getting it goes back to hiring, and I know it's not 100% thing. You're going to have people that don't really need a whole lot of recognition, but they're certainly going to appreciate it. They're not seeking it out. And then there are other people that it's like a toddler or a small kid that you have to constantly kind of reward them for good behavior to get that good behavior and to set up those principles and that character for them to where they're flying on their own. Sometimes you have to do that with employees too. But there's nothing wrong because it's going to help you get what you want for the organization, and hopefully you won't have to be telling them for the next 30 years.
Right. Well, this is what Helen just chimed in on. She just now got on the live stream, I believe, and wanted to chime in. She's like, I think people don't expect recognition, but are delighted when they get it. Mm-hmm. That's been her experience in that dynamic. And Helen, we would love to hear from you on tomorrow's live stream from Conversation for Humanity or Humanity Happy Hour. If you want to join us, I will send you an invite. We would love to get your thoughts on that. And then I'll go back to Brian, and he said this many times before on previous calls. He says, do you want to save the world or get credit for saving the world? And that comes from Brian.
I think sometimes it also depends on how you've been brought up. And, kids that were brought up and everything they did, their parents went head over heels and, that's so wonderful, you're trip. Then they start expecting that when they get out there into the business world that people are going to do the same thing for them. So, some of the parenting that's gone on doesn't help people.
Like participation trophies. I want a participation trophy because I showed up at work,
Right.
I don't need recognition. So
right.
I'm saving the world without recognition, Brian.
And I think, Carla, that goes back to what you were saying. You can take recognition just a little too far sometimes. And we have to, we have to be careful not to do that. But it's like a person running into a fire a house on fire to save somebody, they don't do it for recognition. They do it because it's important to them, right? That they do this because it's the right thing to do. So again, it's just about who we are. And so we don't need recognition for that. And of course you're going to get it, but that's not why you do it. You don't do it for
That
the
wasn't your motivating factor.
It wasn't the motivating factor is there's someone in there who needs help. And if you're a type that is going to help people, you're probably going to run in and try to save the people, right? So it just as an example. So again, I think we can take recognition too far, and we have to be careful not to do that at the same. It's a balancing act, but again, I think most of us want, even though we don't ask for it or expect it, I think we appreciate the recognition. Like Helen was saying, I think most people will appreciate that they were recognized. And again, recognized just to me means that someone saw what I did and took an effort, made an effort to say, hey, I saw what you did, thank you, or whatever.
So I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to ask the call of action for today. So, Carla, what will be your call to action for today about human development / human investment?
Work on your own personal development and realize that you could be a leader without a position.
Lisa?
I think really just be the best people we can be every day, every relationship that we have, because it can only make things better around us everywhere.
Sandy?
I think we should always keep learning. I think that, that's how our brains are designed anyway. And it doesn't hurt to learn new things. And it just gives us the opportunity to help out in different situations if we have learned new things. And again, it does enhance relationships, no question about that. And in the workplace, it's nice to get along with people that you work with, because it just creates a better feeling in the workplace. When people don't get along, the workplace gets poisonous. And as I've mentioned before, when somebody comes in, it's palpable. You can feel it. Mm-hmm. So it's better if people get along, enjoy each other, and have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then my call to action, I would just say, is just lead with your humanity every day in every way. Just be who you are. Just say, hey, how can I help and serve you? And really make it not about yourself, but really about serving Carla, Sandy, Lisa, Brian, Graham. Just be out there for others, because see, if you help others get what they want, you will get what you want. And that's the law of dynamics. I truly believe in that. So ladies as well, Michael, I wish you could have jumped back on, but I guess you had some audio issues and that kind of thing. So we'll be tomorrow on Conversation for Humanity, again, talking about human development, human investment, and get more perspective. So Helen, if you'd like to be able to join our conversation tomorrow, I'll send an invite to you so you can join us. And we thank you so much for joining in and watching this live today. If you want to reach out to either me, Sandy, Carla, or Lisa, please do. We would love to have a great one-on-one conversation with you. And also, if you want to be a part of our community group or even want to be a part of our organization, please let us know. We want to hear your thoughts and comments on where you want to see humanity in business today. So as well, ladies, I greatly appreciate you being on this journey with me and having this great engaging conversation. And I'm sorry for the heat, Sandy. I know you're probably burning up over there, but
Chris, but it is 31 degrees here now. I don't know what it's going to go up to today, but they said that it could get very close to 40.
Well, my guest room's open on Saturday night if you can get out of Canada.
Last night when we went upstairs to get into bed, it was 97 degrees in our bedroom.
Oh, no. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yep.
man,
Oh, you poor
not me.
thing.
No,
So I
not me.
didn't sleep very well last night, which is probably why I'm struggling today.
I told you should have taken that second fan upstairs.
Well, the one we have is huge, Carla, and it does blow on the bed. so it keeps us comfortable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really cool down the room per se. It's
Yeah,
not like
that's a fan up there.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's not
it'll
like
cool down a little. Yeah.
Anyway, my
So-
husband is calling me. I think he might have made lunch. Oh my God.
All righty. So thank you, Sandy, Carla, and Lisa. We'll see you tomorrow for Conversations for Humanity.
Okay,
Bye.
always
Hang in there, Sandy.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye-bye.